These men were simply seeking to defend their neighborhood from burglaries. There had been a string of burglaries. I believe a gun had been stolen only a month prior. This is why the men in question were concerned about whether or not they would be threatened and their lives would be in danger.
That's ridiculous. That's utterly ridiculous. Like, how can you use any of that you just said, if true, this is at my most generous, if true, to justify the murder of someone who was not stealing anything? Like, is it just because they had probable cause? If they themselves believe it to be true, if they manifest it in their own minds? All right, let's see what the big beanie has to say about Ahmaud Arbery. I'm kind of curious.
So if I were to say that the conservatives are correct, this was the right verdict, I would go on to say, and I think most people on the right would agree, the people who attacked Kyle Rittenhouse, namely the individuals who survived Jump Kick Man and Gage Grosskreutz, should be charged in money.
No one will ever know his true name. It's forever. You are forever Jump Kick Man. Go forth, Jump Kick Man.
Much the same way the individuals, the McMichaels, were. Now, I'm not absolutely convinced the verdict was correct. I don't know for sure. It appears the verdict is based on the judge's instructions on citizens arrest law. I will say very simply, I don't believe for a minute that Ahmaud Arbery was just jogging. I think that's overtly naive, and I believe it's...
God damn, Tim. Damn, the beanie is already fully off, but still, you think sometimes he would remember. So, in one case, obviously, very clear-cut case of self-defense. Kyle Rittenhouse is a hero. He should be the next president of the United States, 2027. Look out for it, or 28, or whatever. But when it comes to Ahmaud Arbery, well, they're not giving us the full story. Okay, there could be some things that we don't know. Was he just jogging? Was he just, I don't know, approached for a citizen arrest while black? I mean, they're not telling us the full story.
It's propaganda. However, that being said, the man did not deserve to be confronted by a bunch of guys in cars with weapons, and it's a complicated case. Truth be told, I covered it in detail several, when it happened. I believe it was, almost 2 years ago. I have the, we'll pull up the story in a second and go through the details. I don't think people should be taking the law into their own hands and chasing people down. I'm also not entirely convinced that murder charges make a whole lot of sense. But we'll get into it. Far be it from me to be the arbiter of morality, and this one's particularly tough. And
Well, what do you call it? What's the charge that you would have preferred to have seen? Like unintentional homicide? I think it was pretty intentional.
I will say from the get-go, when I covered this a while ago, and I had much stronger opinions on what went down, my opinions today may be very different for two reasons. I haven't covered the story in a long time. A lot of the key details I probably won't remember, and my opinion is going to be based on a rather limited understanding of what went down. Take that into consideration. Go back and watch my other videos, and maybe, you'll get a different view of what...
Okay, so there's a new Legal Eagle. I'll watch the new one, as long as it's not another minefield, because I watched the original Legal Eagle, but it was very, very good. And here's the thing about that one. In terms of self-defense law, and the thing that I thought neither side was willing to admit, but Legal Eagle points it out very well, is that technically both sides could have been correct in their argumentation, and in in reflection on self-defense is definitely something that is going to be treated by the last man standing. Was the last man standing acting in self-defense? Had Kyle Rittenhouse effectively been killed by one of the people who was chasing him, especially near the end of that, then the self-defense application would have been put into that person's own defense. It was like, well, this person was technically defending themselves in self-defense from Kyle Rittenhouse because they didn't want him to kill him. So it's an application for the last man standing, it really sounds like. In this case, though, this is such a clear-cut, like, I haven't even seen outside of the right to far right, people really even wanting to touch this one, because it's just kind of such a, it's pretty obvious what happened here. These happen to be people who think they can do citizens arrests on a black American because they thought that he had been stealing stuff from this construction site. During the course of the court trial, not only did we see the incredible amount of racism on display and bias that was present in this court case, from the fact that the defense did not want to allow black pastors or preachers to be in the courtroom because he felt that would somehow manipulate the jury by seeing that, just the mere sight of it. It's like, no, my God, oh no, and on top of which, the video footage that was released clearly showed Ahmaud Arbery did not do anything wrong. He did not. I mean, the worst thing you could say is maybe trespassing, but like he didn't steal anything from the construction site. He didn't break anything from the construction site. He basically had just walked through there. So the idea that they were just, trying to be a couple of good old citizens, chase him down in a truck with weapons, with guns, make sure that, he submitted to their will. Like, I think there's a big reason why the same right-wingers who were just overjoyed with the Kyle Rittenhouse shit are pretty much radio silence on the Ahmaud Arbery trial. Including, by the way, and I'm going to put this out there, Twitch streamers who were acting pretty much as Kyle Rittenhouse's like third lawyer now seem to be quite quiet on the Ahmaud Arbery case.
Went down. I think it may be that murder convictions across the board, even for the guy who was following, are overtly political. Now, I'm not saying these guys should just be allowed to walk. Absolutely not. They confronted a guy because they thought he was trespassing or stealing something with shotguns in a car and tried to detain him. You try to make a citizen's arrest, you're responsible for what happens. But let's be real. If a cop was there, cop probably would have chased him down in much the same way. And if Arbery, fought with the cop, probably the same thing would have happened. And that cop probably would have been found not guilty on all counts. I'm not saying that would be the right call.
Yeah, is Tim just pointing out the reality? Sure. Yeah, the cop probably would have been found not guilty in that situation. The police officer went as far as doing that when the evidence clearly showed that Ahmaud Arbery had not done anything wrong in terms of damage or stealing. That's a really fucked up thing for a cop to pursue. By the way, what is this idea? Like, Americans, do you want to turn America into this world? Is this just kind of like the only way to defeat tyranny is a well-armed, consistently on the edge populace where everyone is just basically a Judge Dredd? Like, is America just going to be a sea of Judge Dredds? Everyone consistently defending everything and anyone at any time? Like, I could defend you at any time if I needed to at gunpoint, and I could make a citizen's arrest on you, and then if you do the same to me, well, you better be justified in doing that, because otherwise I'll self-defense myself and then shoot you in the face. It's just like this endless, murder boners one way. I was going to say like murder paradox, where everyone is just like, whoa, self-defense. No, self-defense here. Oh, no, I'm self-defending. Well, I'm defending against your self-defense. Well, wait, are you trying to steal? I can't tell. Are you? No, you're trying to defend your property. Well, I'm trying to defend my property against you defending your property, and your property is technically now mine, so I want that property too. So now I'm self-defending by shooting you for just this endless game of who is last man standing is basically it.
I'm just saying, you wear a badge, you are allowed to do what these guys did. I think everybody agrees, and I'm not trying to make,
Tim, were you watching No Time to Die recently? Do you think that it gives you license to kill indiscriminately? It's not what police officers are supposed to do. They get away with it. That's very different. They get away with it usually, in large part due to the protection afforded to them through a variety of means. But that doesn't mean that that's what police officers are supposed to be doing. They're not 007s.
A statement. I'm literally, if you're wearing a badge, you can confront this guy, and you
no puddle. I'll check it out.
You'll likely not be found guilty of any crimes if the individual dies. Let's read the story though, and we'll go through this. I want to show you the analysis from Andrew Branca as he was covering the tail end of this case, and admittedly, we were all covering the Rittenhouse case because of the political implications. I still think this story is important to cover. Before we get started, head over to timcast.com, become a member, and you'll get access to exclusive. Look, it's been almost 2 years that, again, I will admit to say there are details that I don't remember. Has emerged of Arbery doing so, and I believe that's correct. Some people say that he did steal. I don't believe, as of right now, that there's evidence of that. Again, you can go watch my other videos where I cover this in greater detail.
Even if he did, I know they always have to paint the victims in these stories as, of course, being like, well, he did smoke weed once. He smoked. He had a felony charge from 2 years ago. Oh, he did this. I mean, he may have stolen something. I'm like, it doesn't matter if he actually did steal stuff off that construction site. Like, even if he had stolen a couple 2x4s or a lawnmower or something, that doesn't mean that it warrants him dying as a human being at the hands of another stranger who doesn't even own or have anything to do with the property in question, just trying to do a good old citizen's arrest. It's that endless thing, right? Theo Rex, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, he was no angel. That's all I'm going to say.
Videos from, I believe it was just the night before, he walks in, looks around, walks out. Now, apparently the guy who owned the property took issue with this, word had gotten around, and then they decided to pursue. The Glynn County Police Department said the Brunswick district attorneys advised them on February 23rd to make no arrests, while the Brunswick DA's office denied that its top office holders gave such advice. Waycross District Attorney, for example, will require more than just probable cause. Will require that the offense was committed in the presence of the person making the arrest, or that they have immediate knowledge of the offense, perhaps observed from a distance.
Wait. Before we'll allow a citizen's arrest for relatively minor crime, then imagine shoplifting, for example, will require more than just probable cause, will require that the offense was committed in the presence of the person making the arrest, or that they have immediate knowledge of the offense, perhaps observed from a distance, for example. Yeah. Shouldn't this be open and shut then for anyone who's trying to be like, well, they were just trying to do a citizen's arrest? I mean, a good-hearted American should have a right to arrest one another. It's how we keep each other safe, after all. Especially from all of those, let's just say, naughty folk. You know, those kind. Those people.
I don't know. You've got a lot of people saying this. These men were simply seeking to defend their neighborhood from burglaries. There had been a string of burglaries. I believe a gun had been stolen only a month prior. This is why the men in question were concerned about whether or not they would be threatened and their lives would be in danger.
That's ridiculous. That's utterly ridiculous. Like, how can you use any of that you just said, if true, this is at my most generous, if true, to justify the murder of someone who was not stealing anything? Like, is it just because they had probable cause? If they themselves believe it to be true, if they manifest it in their own minds, it's like, you have to understand where they're coming from, okay? You gotta really empathize with these three killers. What they were really doing is they had just seen a string of robberies in their area, and there's black people who live there as well. I mean, you know, and at the same time, they didn't know if this person would be armed or not, and they assumed just because this person had been seen in that vicinity that they in fact were like. You know the other fucked up thing? Did everyone see Tulsi Gabbard's tweet about all this? Like, I can't stress enough how utterly baffling anyone who ever thought that Tulsi Gabbard was anything other than like a pretty far right-winger. If America is a racist country, Arbery's killers would not have been found guilty by nearly an all-white jury in Georgia. Most Americans, of all colors, believe in Dr. MLK's adage that as God's children, we should be judged by the content of our character, not the color of our skin. Aww. Tulsi's saying we did it. Racism's over, everyone. You know? It's fantastic. You know, here's the only problem, if you didn't know this, is that they actually didn't do anything about this at all after it happened. 74 days went by. 74 days went by. The only reason the police actually even arrested the McMichaels after murdering this person, okay? They murdered this person, Ahmaud Arbery. 74 days go by. There is a leaked video. The leaked video shows what happened. There is obviously online outrage where everyone is like, what the ever-living fuck? And then there's protests on the streets for 2 days, at which point they arrest them. So, yeah, I don't know. Sounds a little bit like a racist system that's defending people who in turn feel that they are enacting out what is just under this system, which is the protection of personal property from black Americans, from the scary black Americans who are going to destroy us and steal. So we have to do citizen's arrest. Without that video, they might not have been convicted. Without a couple of videos. I mean, keep in mind that they also needed that video, the security footage that showed that Ahmaud Arbery had in fact done nothing wrong outside of perhaps, again, trespassing. But Ahmaud Arbery did not go there and steal anything. Ahmaud Arbery did not go there and damage anything. Like, had that footage not existed, I guarantee you the defense would have been like, yes, he had gone there to break stuff, or he had stolen stuff, or like, well, we don't have evidence of it, but I'm sure there's something. Like, it was most crucial on both ends to have the footage of the murder itself and that security footage too.
This will come down to who can deliver the lower propensity and mid propensity voters.
our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Just, we will build a ladder to heaven to deliver you the daily news. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are your most humble of clownish jesters. To our lords, Trevor R. and Alexander Thaler, you have our undying fealty. To our knights of the round table, Nate, that one guy, Hagbird Celine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Ariana McCarthy, Daniel Sutton, Ants Are Still Running the World, Coulter Smith, Tom Groh, Val 9000, Jenna Tal, Quiet 185, Anna Loves Riley, Riley and Anna, Omni, Poodlehawk, The Tim Caucus, Multimondi, Trevor Janis, Lemmy 101, Anthropophojack, Saren 42, Chronic to Hemphog, Catherine, Radical Maniac, Ramon Acosta, Incosin, Violent Orchard, Sophie Baby, Political Puppy, Andreas Chiringuito, Zach Christensen, Josh Mickelson, Todd Buckingham, and Todd Lajeunesse. We shall meet you in the tavern, and we raise a drink, and we salute you.